ChatGPT just released a new image engine, what it means, why the retro look is making a comeback, and will DJI drones be banned this week? We're going to talk about that, and I'll talk about it with my co-host and friend, Don Giannotti. Don, how are you?
Pretty good, Jerry. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. We've
This,
got some
this is the
interesting
first
stories this
time.
week. It is.
First time we're doing this.
Absolutely. It's fun.
We
It's
should
go ahead.
we should let everybody know we usually do this over coffee in downtown Gilbert or Queen Gilbert,
Gilbert.
downtown Gilbert. Yeah. Yeah, every other Sunday we're there for I don't know, 3, 4 hours.
Yeah, we're gonna try this out live, and if you are
Mhm.
catching this on the restream, um, definitely come and join us and join the conversation. Jump into the
We're
questions.
not
And
gonna be we're not gonna be 3 or 4 hours.
no, we
We
probably won't be
promise.
3 or 4.
We
You never
promise.
know. Never know. There might be there might
That's
be a
true.
story here or there that gets us going. That's what we
That's
normally
true.
do when we're in person, but on the live stream, we'll try to keep it condensed and reasonable for everybody. So,
Well, it's great to be here with you, Jerry.
no,
This
I
is
I,
fun.
I appreciate you doing this. So, all right. So the first story. Um, We're gonna say the new ChatGPT image is here. This was announced on December 16th. You can kind of see there, and they've got some new features that they announced with the this image engine that they have, and they specifically focused on the some improvements in the precise editing and preserving what is already there. So a lot of times, if you've used the image processor in the past, you get a totally random new out output once you try to edit something. And then they've also improved, I guess, the creative transformation. I haven't really tried this as much, but it's the idea that you can take like this image here of these two guys, and they make it into an older image. And then the one that I did notice was the text rendering is much better. It's
Way, way better.
more improved. It's more accurate. You're not getting any of these kind of spurious, crazy words that don't make any sense at all. So, um, I haven't had a chance to use it a little bit, but I know you were kind of experimenting with it a little bit this week. Um,
It's an interesting thing that's happened. Photoshop has Nano Banana built into it,
right.
right? So if you're on I guess the ultra premium subscription, you have Nano Banana and something else. I can't remember what it is
There's
built into Photoshop.
Firefly, and then there's I think there's Firefly, which is the Adobe version, and then there is one more. Is it Kling? Well, anyway, there's other.
Yeah,
There are really a lot,
it,
lot of
it-
partners in on the AI.
yeah. So then ChatGPT comes along and puts Adobe in ChatGPT. So now, and I'm like, that's really weird. I mean, Gemini didn't put Adobe into uh, their Flash.
Nano Banana, yeah, or whatever, yeah.
It's really kind of bizarre. So I tried it out. Um, right now, basically, you have to hook up your Adobe account so that it's using, so that you have, not anybody can use it. You have to have an Adobe account, a Photoshop account, and you hook up your Photoshop, and then you can open an image, and then you basically say Adobe Photoshop tell it what you want it to do, and it'll actually go into Photoshop. It's very low end at this point. You can do a little color correction, you can sharpen, that type of thing. But it will work within Photoshop and then spit back out a Photoshop file. That's really kind of cool. For those of us who've been using Photoshop for, you know, 25 years, not a big deal because you're not going to do anything in there that I'm not going to use it because it's too basic. But that's today. I don't know, 6 months from now, you could probably call up and do literally anything you do in Photoshop right within AI, and have AI controlling everything. I don't see an end to that. I don't see an end point. I think it's going to be totally wrapped together. So that'll be a very interesting situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you mentioned that is like I haven't really had a chance to use it, but what I've seen demonstrated, it feels like it's pulled a couple of features in, and where I really think it's useful at the moment. I don't know where it's headed. I almost feel like this is Adobe just trying to introduce themselves to 300 million, or I don't know how many people are on ChatGPT. 300 million people. I don't know. It's a
Oh,
way for
I,
Adobe to put themselves in front of that audience, which is I think pretty large. But the feature set seemed pretty limited. Like to your point,
yeah.
it's not Photoshop, and but where I could see this being a useful tool is it's quick for if I'm building. I was building production for this show today. I'm grabbing images, I'm grabbing an article or whatever. To be able to crop something off the internet and just use the Photoshop tool, or to maybe make an adjustment if it's too unsaturated or too saturated, you could just quickly adjust it. It's really good for like grabbing stuff off the internet and using it as a tool that way. And in fact,
Mhm.
this is a separate issue, but Google, someone, and this is not Google, but or maybe it is. I don't know if you have you used the Photoshop plugin for Chrome. They do have a Photoshop plugin that you can now, if you see an image on any web page, you click on it and it captures it on kind of an online soft version or a slimmed down version of Photoshop, and you have a little bar on the side. And I think you can open it in Photoshop. I think it goes to your Creative Cloud account, and then it's integrated with the full blown Photoshop if you open that up as the full version.
Well,
So
that certainly will help with keeping your intellectual property safe.
good. I didn't even think of that, but I was thinking more of it's just I do a lot of capturing for this kind of thing where you're doing video production and you're grabbing something you want to reference, you want to show a picture or file or something, and so those kind of tools are helpful. I don't see it as a full replacement, obviously, but the one thing you did mention though is you can then, let's say you do use this ChatGPT feature, you can then open it in your own Photoshop. You have to be a
Yes.
subscriber, but it will
Yeah.
go into the full version.
Yeah. You can then take it. You can save it as a PSD file and open it in Photoshop. The thing is that's unique is how many times have you ever spoken to Photoshop? Well, you can in GPT. You just simply have a conversation with it. Oh, make that sky a little bit bluer and sharpen up the back. You can decrease the, I hate this word, the bokeh. You can decrease the bokeh with it. I mean, you can increase it, decrease it. You can sharpen it. Um, you can uh, you can take two images and it'll collage it together.
Yeah,
Put me on the left, put my dog on the right, kind of thing. It'll do all that, and then give you back PSD files. Okay, that's pretty damn cool.
yeah, it really
Is it
is.
is it going to change the way you and I go out and do photography? Probably not. We're not going to sit and go, "Oh, put the dog on the left." We'll do other things with it. But that's just the beginning. And when you add the typography engine where you can actually call for specific fonts, use Garamond Light and have it do that, we're getting into some pretty interesting territory.
That's. I mean, as you say, it's early days. So I mean, I had this. I think I mentioned to you that, uh, I manage a few different YouTube channels, and they have a feature where you can have multiple thumbnails, and I ran a couple of things through. It might have been Gemini or Nano Banana, but either way, either one of these engines they're so equal, and it was able to merge the character that I normally have, the person I normally have, into a thumbnail, and I was able to rapidly put together some thumbnails, which is nice because those are the ones that I want to test. So, and it was really the first time I had ever felt like, wow, this is it wasn't like it's gonna be there yet, but it was that first moment where you could see the future and you say, wow, this could really be something I wouldn't necessarily have to use the manual skills that I used to use to create an image that I wanted.
Well, the way I see, first of all, you know me, and I think a lot of the people who know me, I am not an image creator in AI. I have never made a Mid-Journey image. I have no interest in doing that. I've generated some fun little things for my wife in Firefly. We did our Christmas card last year in Firefly. We'll probably do it again this year, just because it's a fun graphic way to do it. But as a lot of photographers are in a situation where you now can load up 3 or 4 images into ChatGPT, have it develop say, create a promo card, use this branding, upload your logo and the whole bit, have it create a promo card, download it, stick it in an email, and send it out. You're instead of going into InDesign and having to prepare all your images, save it as a PDF, blah blah blah, on and on and on. This is instant, and you can actually with a agent, you can actually say create this and send it to my folder in my Gmail, like client folder, and it'll just do that. Boom, open up the client folder, attach it with your little message, and send it out while you're doing something else. And just amazing automation.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm.
go ahead.
That's what I'm most excited about is the automation part of it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's the thing where people don't. They only think of generative AI, that it's going to replace me, it's going to replace photography, but there are so many things, and it can really take the heavy lifting on the things you probably don't even like to do, like marketing. You
Hmm.
go out, find contacts, give you suggestions for emails to send to people, give you ideas to just make it more efficient. When you're a
Yeah.
single person trying to run a business, AI has been, if you really kind of study it a little bit and learn about it, I think it could be a really, it could be another member of your team in a way. It's an intern, or it's an advanced intern, or maybe just a coworker that can help you, you know, take some of the burden off of what you really need to be doing day to day, especially on the marketing, I think.
It's interesting as professional photographers are coming up against, 2 walls. One is a wall that they build themselves. Is, oh, AI is going to take my job, so there's no use trying. That's terrible. Don't go there. Get off any Facebook group that espouses that crap. Um, but I do understand that AI will be a problem in the automation. It's a numbers game. Jerry, it's been a numbers game since I started this business, and that was well over 50 years ago that I decided to be a professional photographer and made a living, bought homes and cars and everything from being a photographer. The biggest challenge is it's a numbers game, and the numbers are huge now. We used to market to, I live in Phoenix, and that's where I first started. So we used to market to Phoenix and the West Coast. That was it. We market to the world now. And so your numbers are huge, and you just can't ignore it and say, well, I'll send out an email every once in a while. You're competing against people who have figured out how to automate this, how to make it work for them, and then how to do 3 things at one time, almost like having a clone. You'll have a marketing person in AI, a marketing AI that's doing that while you're preparing for shoots, and you'll have an AI that's probably editing a lot of your work over here, so you're not sitting button in chair in front of Photoshop for hours on end. So and those are the people who will win. It's Photographers go, well, I'll be replaced by AI. No, you'll be replaced by people who know how to use AI
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
in the
think,
foreseeable future. Way out, no, way out in John Connor land, I don't know. I'm not going that far out, but for the next 5 or 10 years, you know, we're okay. We got to keep moving and doing what we're doing.
yeah, I mean, and I think that it applies also to videographers. I mean,
Mhm.
I love photography and have been in it, but I realized, video was kind of a way for me to go. And I've learned that stacking is still very important. So it's the photography, it's the video, but it's also the ability to make short copy, to manage it. And you could certainly become the the manager, a brand manager for these individuals, high paying people who just don't have time to be posting and be out there. There are so many people. Suddenly, it's not Coca-Cola or the largest brands in the world that you're after. You might just be after an individual who's the CEO of a healthcare company who, you know, in the past you might have done a photo for them for their annual report. Now you could go in and manage their entire online brand for them and give them the aesthetic, the understanding of all the things you knew as either a photographer or video or and even writing. I mean, you know, you got to be, there's these write with AI guys. I don't, you know, people push back on that, but even that could be something you can incorporate. So
Absolutely.
you know, it's kind of getting ahead of the curve. It's like if it's because these, no matter what the tools are out there, I can tell you right now, these busy executives, they're they they there's just too much to do in a day, and they don't want to be necessarily posting to LinkedIn and doing all of that and understanding the algorithms and those kind of things. They'll just and they need advice and consulting. Like, what should I talk about? Where, you know, what would be the most, you know, what and so yeah, I mean, there's just I think it opens up opportunities if you can just step back for a minute and not identify yourself or define yourself too tightly and be more open to opportunities.
And look at the change in how business is. Um, 20 years ago, a big business, the kind of businesses that would have budgets to hire photographers that big, you know, they'd be, you know, Procter and Gamble, Hyundai, Ford, big brands. And what did big brands have? Big employment numbers. They had massive amounts of people behind them, right? Well, I think it was Elon Musk, it might have been the guy at AI said within the next 5 years, we will see our first solo trillionaire. Solo.
Yep.
And this will be somebody doing something in AI. I guarantee you they won't be a graphic designer or a photographer, but there'll be someone doing something in AI. This will be a one-man group. There are 5 and 15 uh, person companies out there doing billions.
Yeah.
So their ad expenditure is not something that we sneeze at. There's some serious money being thrown around, and you've got to be in the game to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I also think it could be a graphic designer. You never know. I mean,
Well, it
you
could
know,
be, yeah.
somebody who's coming from a creative background who has some. I really do think taste and the ability to discern good, uh, you know, just good visuals, good copy. That's almost more important now. So anyway,
It's actually the only thing.
yeah,
It's the only thing that we bring. The perfection of AI, uh, we can't top it. We can meet it, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. We
yep,
can meet it, but we can't top it. And so, what we can do is bring aesthetic, taste, and judgment because AI has no judgment. It has no aesthetic and it has no taste. Those three things are human.
yeah, and
And
yeah, it has no way to go in a certain direction. Sometimes
it
combining
can
things
only
together.
mimic what
Yeah,
it's seen 100 billion times before. And so it just slaps things together based on what it's seen, which is why when you prompt something, an image on Midjourney or whatever, when you prompt it, it's never right the first time because it can't see inside your brain.
yep.
And so you constantly have to keep prompting it to work out what you need to say to get what you're seeing in your head. Unless you're a hack. If you're a hack, you just type in make a picture of a girl on a motorcycle and you're happy with whatever you get. That's not a business, that's not a career, and that's just a fad, and there's no future in that.
Yeah, there's no value in
So
it.
it's
Absolutely.
bringing the taste to it. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we need to go on to the next story, but I was gonna just jump in. Got to go on these tangents, and that is this TV show Pluberous. I think it's on Apple TV Plus, and it's about this woman, and there's a big hive, and all the human beings on Earth are kind of they're all connected, and it's almost like a metaphor for AI because everybody knows everything. And so I don't. They claimed it wasn't built for. It was the show wasn't designed that way. But in any event, there was a episode this week. Not to spoil it for people, but where one of the humans who's still unattached to the hive is a writer, and they are thrilled. They, being this AI, basically is thrilled that she's going to write a new story from her past, which she's been a writer, and it pointed to me that you have the ability to the creativity. That story wasn't in the public domain, or it wasn't available to anybody until she created it. So the human being creating something is still super
Still,
valuable, and that's
still
kind of
there.
what this episode was showing. It was interesting to me. Anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent, but talking about AI and how it's too perfect. There's this new trend. This was the story that kind of generated for me this blog post. This was from Glenn Lewis. He's talked about the rebellion of the perfect photo, but then you talked about, and it was just here that we like to discuss, or there's this low quality that people are trying to get back to. It's these digicams, and then you have your own Substack where you're doing a 5-day on your Substack, a 5-day discussion basically about this topic.
About the changes that are slowly unfolding, and the way I see it for the next 5 years. So this is not what to do next year. It's kind of what the trends are leading over a longer trend. And one of those trends is the two path thing that's opened up here. The two paths of photography. One is we call extreme realism, and the other is the AI perfection. And this is the AI perfection is photographers shooting images that look like AI. So it's taken skill and production to a whole new level, and I hate that term, but a whole new level of work. The reason is a lot of agencies and clients are a little worried right now about the legal problems with AI that have never been fished out yet. They're not, we've got years of legal wrangling before we know what's going on. And big companies don't want to be caught in that mess. So they'll come up with something in AI, give it to a photographer, and tell the photographer to shoot it like this. Or they'll have the photographer generate a lookbook and then go back to create a look like that, not actually copying the image, but copying the look that the AI gave it. And that's a trend that you're seeing getting deeper and deeper. The other trend is real reality. And this is where the clients are going, we don't want it to look like AI. Our brand isn't that shiny thing. Maybe you're a hiking company, like an outdoor adventure company. AI might just be a little too crispy for you. So you're looking for a photographer maybe shoots film or shoots digital and uses filmic processing to make it look like film, even to the point of adding dust and scratches, even to the point of doing that, of adding just that little imperfection that says human made, a person did this, rough borders, shooting on film. The old processes, cyanotype, tintype, all of these things are being used by ad agencies and clients and brands to push out that feeling that you get when you look at something. It has nothing to do with the technique. Nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter about the technique. It's the feeling.
I'm sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, it's but it's kind of. I was thinking to myself, it's sort of capturing trends that come and go based on technology. Sometimes, I'm sure you remember. I was a big HDR guy, and I remember when
Mhm.
I look back at those photos now, I cringe. How super crispy they were, and you can do HDR now. It's a great technology, but you've toned it. You tone it down so that it looks real. It looks less overprocessed. It just looks a little
Hmm.
bit more natural. But for a while, that crispy, grungy HDR look was super popular, and it probably will come back someday. Someone will start doing it again, and
Well,
it'll
I
just.
certainly hope not.
I kind of hope not either, but you never know. I mean, it's just trends are
No,
trends,
it
right?
probably will.
Well,
Everything comes back.
yeah. Just wait for one big like Nike or someone to use something like that in one of their ads or on Instagram, and people will be like, "What is this?" It usually takes a generation, because the younger generation come up hadn't seen it. You'll see it and go, "We did this 30 years ago," and it was so anyway. But yeah, I think that now with AI, there's now that's going to be a style for a while, right? That will be maybe we'll look back at this time and go, oh, remember when everybody tried to make their photographs look like AI? And that kind of went away after a while, and as AI got better and normalized again.
And in the what's a good thing for photographers is photographers can do both those styles. It's just photography. It's back on us now. We can do that. And to be fair, AI can do that sort of old-timey look too. And it's getting better at it.
Yeah,
Um, I think a long time ago, you generated some pictures for me, right? Of old-timey pictures.
yeah.
I
Like
think
what?
you did.
Like processed that way? You mean just like
I think,
before
yeah, the
AI?
process
Yeah,
to look
yeah.
like, yeah.
Sepia
And,
tone and yeah,
of course they looked very AI.
yeah,
You could tell. In fact, I think that was back in the six-fingered man days.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, you
but
you're talking, yeah, with AI. You do remember that? Yeah, I did do some for you in Midjourney.
yeah,
Maybe you'd said, could you do
I think it
some?
was Mid-Journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I tried it and they were not good. I
and
mean,
uh, and and now you can tell uh, Flash 2.5, or I guess we're at Flash 3 as of yesterday, right? Flash
so
3 yesterday,
Flash
or is it
is
tomorrow?
that the Google one? Is this
That's
Gemini?
Gemini.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
Gemini.
didn't know they named
I
it
think we're
Flash.
at
Yeah.
Flash 3 is either here or coming like tomorrow type thing. But you can actually tell Flash to create this and make it look like a tintype, and it knows what a tintype is, and it knows what a cyanotype is, and it knows what a Nikon film look. That's something you can do in ChatGPT. You can put that picture and say, make it look filmic.
Yeah.
And what it'll do is just the normal things that film does. It'll darken the shadows and it'll bring the highlights down a little bit and make it not look so digital. But it's really interesting to see who's doing these best. Luxury brands, real luxury, are going for the real. And startups, tech, a lot of those are going for the AI. And some people are caught in the middle or switching over, but the high-end clientele, high-end stuff, they're kind of going, well, we want it to look real. We want it to look accessible. We want it to look like you could be there. And as long as that's happening, there's terrific opportunity for photographers. And I think it's going to be happening for a long, long time. I don't think we're going to get to 2045 and have people going, yes, nobody uses cameras anymore. We just think the image and it comes up. Then if that's the case, then there won't be any imagery, period. You'll just imagine whatever you want to see from a prompt you read on something that you're looking at, something equivalent to a newspaper, but there'll be a hieroglyphic there and your brain will see whatever you want it to see. And at that point, well, you know, it'll just be an art form.
Yeah, I mean, but I
Uh,
think I think we were talking about when we were talking about earlier is there's something about an artifact. There's something about something that was
mhm.
authentic, and sometimes I look at my parents' wedding photography, and I think, to some extent, in the weird brain that I have, the the negatives from that day, those photons bounced off my parents and came into the camera, and so
Yeah, they did.
I don't know what that means, but there's some way that I connect to it as like it was there. This is real. This happened, and it's important to me to feel that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Technology always you know kind of throws a curveball at us. So
Well, technology interrupts every um, technologically driven art form or whatever. Look what it's doing to music. Look what it's doing to graphic design. Look what it's doing to illustration. Um, and photographers, we complain a lot about what it's doing to photography, but it's almost decimated illustration.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost destroyed that because there never was that human connection when you looked at an illustration in a magazine. There wasn't that human connection that somebody was there. When a photograph, when you look at a photograph, an old Art Kane photograph of something that was happening, you knew Art Kane was there. A human was there and witnessed whatever was happening and snapped it. With an illustration, it's always been that. And that abstraction has rendered illustration in a very difficult position right now.
Yeah. That
So,
and animation, the same. Yeah. For movement.
and animation,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny though you mentioned that. I follow a guy on Instagram, Devin Rodriguez, I think his name is. Hopefully I got that right.
Hmm.
But he's a portrait. He draws, and he'll go out
Hmm.
in the street and just sit there and talk to people. He's brilliant. He's able to talk and draw at the same time, and he shows his process. Uh, and and then he hands it to them at the end, and they hold it up, and they're so happy, and he gets such a thrill out of it. But it is that artifact. It's almost like photographers have to go back to what portrait people had to do because they got destroyed by photography. But I think that thinking about it, that's probably why Polaroid cameras have come back so much. Or I was even thinking about grabbing some sort of mobile printer for my phone where you take a photo, print it out on Polaroid paper, and be able to hang it up on the studio wall where we do our video live streams. Just put it up. Just like, okay, here are all the visitors we had, and it's just like I took this picture when the person was there, and
Yeah.
this picture exists. So
Yep. And you know what? Next time we're going to talk about
yeah,
my new little toy. This has a printer that goes below it.
really,
Yeah. So you can out in the field, take the photograph and share the print. The print will come right out the front, just like an old Polaroid,
yeah,
but I think it's an inkjet.
yeah,
Sorry, I don't know the
yeah, but
exact.
it
It
does,
might be
yeah, but it's just
dye
yeah,
frame. I don't know what it is,
yeah,
but it pops right out the front. Little bitty photograph comes right out the front, either a panoramic or a square photograph. And yeah, that's not artifact. I think that the photographer, I know who you're talking about, the guy who draws
yeah.
strangers kind of thing.
Devin Rodriguez,
Um,
yeah, he's done, yeah,
yeah. Well, see, what he has is aesthetic, a story, and a presence.
and he's
And so those things are they're beyond necessary. They're absolute.
yeah,
You have to have an aesthetic. You have to have a presence. People have to know who you are because they're bombarded with stuff, so much.
yeah.
It's impossible.
The other thing is he's a very positive guy. I mean, he's everybody he meets, he's very happy. He's thrilled when they get the photo or the drawing that he did for them. And there's a lot of joy almost in what he does. And there's so much, negativity that I find that his little videos are kind of, when they come on,
They're
you're like,
fun.
they're fun. And he's incredibly talented. So you're like, wow, this is really, special to watch. And he's very nice to the people. And he's very humble. He's a great artist, but he doesn't go around boasting on it. He just lets his work talk for it. He doesn't have to say it. He hands it to the subject, and they rave about what a brilliant guy he is. And so it's fun. So I don't know. It's something to think about.
And that's his story.
Absolutely.
His artifact is not only the drawing, but the story.
Yeah. Yeah. And how he met
And
people.
so photographers have to do that. I worked with a young man who was trying something new. And how did that? No, no, he shared it with me. He shared it with me. He goes out hiking. He's a really good landscape photographer. So he goes out hiking. If it's a place he's been before, he'll take 10 or 15 5x7s he prints out and he puts them in a little mat, a little 8x10 mat, puts them in a plastic, Ziploc, And at the trailhead, he'll put these photographs, these 5x7s in the
Wow.
8x10 thing under the windshield wipers of people there. And it's usually a photograph of where they are. So if they're in the Great Smokies, it's a,
That's
killer shot.
awesome.
Or he'll put on his car, he'll put a little, display thing that he'll put, say, take one if you'd like, and it's got his information on the back. Um, in the first year that he did it, he made about $6,000 in print sales
Wow.
on an investment of just a little under $500
That is a great idea.
because it's tactile. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's also,
Only once did somebody take everything. Only once did somebody rip it off. Just, he'd come back, there'd be 8 taken and 5 left. But one time somebody went over and just grabbed them all,
yeah, but
that
maybe
type
they
of
just
thing.
needed them
There's
all.
always
Yeah.
an idiot involved in the world. So,
Yeah, but I'm sure he was fine with it. It's like, look, if you really need it that bad, if you really feel you need to have all
yeah.
these photos, go ahead and take them. That's fine. I'm just, that's a brilliant idea because it is, you'll take a lot of photos. They'll be on your phone, but you never take the time to print them, and they won't be as good, obviously, as probably what he did. So here you go, you got it, and you could even mail it off to someone as a postcard or something
Yeah.
if you wanted to do
Think
that.
about think about going on a cross-country trip and hiding 20 prints as you go across
Yeah,
country,
that's a great idea.
and then putting clues out on your on your
Instagram or whatever social
on
media. Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
Say, look, there's 20 prints out there, and they're in safe places
yeah,
that you can find if you listen to the clues.
yeah.
They're not, and these prints, they're all the same picture. There's 20 of them. They're signed and numbered, and they'll never appear anywhere else. These are the only 20 of that picture that exist in the world, and you can have them if you can find them.
That's great.
Think of the publicity you would get from that artifact.
Yeah. Or
It'd
if
be
you just did,
huge.
if you did it on like I had a friend who was doing it. He was art every day or something in LA, and he was just leaving. But he told you exactly what he left it under a bench, and he said whoever gets it, and please tag me.
Hmm.
So it was a fun little way to just interact, and you're like, oh, I know where that park is. I'm gonna go over and see if the picture's still there, and grab it. So anyway, but. Moving on to technology and other items, I've got this this week. The This is kind of quiet. I mean, I guess because it's such a niche area that not tons and tons of people fly drones, but for photographers or videographers who do fly drones, this December 23rd, DJI will automatically be banned from the United States, and you'll still be able to fly your drone. This is from the Verge, by the way. You'll be able to fly your drone, the existing ones that are here and they're still licensed, but the company cannot import any new ones. And I'm not sure that applies to their cameras. I don't think the Osmo is impacted, but it may be. And then there are people pushing back. I think there still was hope. I doubt it now that President Trump might step in and say, "Let's keep them." He usually likes to negotiate things. So, but it didn't
Yet it
happen.
seems
But
really a strange circumstance.
it
They're
is.
they're being told they need an audit, and they're going, okay, audit us, but no one showed up to do
Right.
an audit, so they're being punished for it.
Yeah, and I think it's just that
Um,
this is a Chinese-owned company. I think that the Chinese Communist Party obviously runs those types of companies, and I think that there's a national security concern from what I kind of gather from reading the different articles that they just don't want these flying drones, and now we see how they can be weaponized. I think the United States government is just saying, well, do we really want the Chinese Communist Party to have bunches of drones? Not that they have anything built into them, but they might. And so I guess it's either paranoia or there must be something maybe they're not telling us about it, but they're banning them. But the weird part is that this last paragraph here, it says, it appears DJI has been looking to sneak products into the United States under other brands like Extra for cameras and Sky Rover for consumer drones. So I did see a YouTuber reviewing this an extra camera that looked like an Osmo, the little Osmo gimbaled camera, and it looked exactly like the Osmo camera. So some people are speculating that they just rebranded it and are it's gonna be
Well,
whack-a-mole.
that's
They're gonna put them in, and then maybe
I'm
cars won't.
I'm not sure that helps their position
Probably not.
doing that.
Although I do,
Probably not a
and
good idea.
what also didn't help, and I don't have it here, but uh, it is that I also heard they shut off the GPS geofencing on it, so that now these drones can fly. They were trying to be good citizens or good corporate whatever, and they were geofencing things like around forest fires or around airports, and so that you as a drone pilot you literally could not launch your drone in certain areas by the geofenced by the GPS coordinates. And I've heard that they're not maintaining it or they've shut it off. So we'll see what happens with this. It's just something to note. Um, I don't know if they'll, the one question I have is I do own a couple of DJIs. I have the Mini 4. They're great. They're excellent products. I do wonder if they'll support them. Not that I expect that I'll have to send it in for warranty, but it does raise a question about whether you'll get any support or parts or things that you may need in the future. So it's just something to think about. But having said
Yeah.
that, there's this other product now. If you're looking for a drone, and I'll run this. Hopefully there won't be a audio on this. And this is from a company. I think it's the same company that makes your little camera there, Don. The
Is, is
Insta360. I think this is the anti-gravity A1, and it's $2,000. But you see there, it's under the weight for it have to be registered. And it has two cameras, one on the top, one on the bottom. You can see it there, and it does a 360-degree capture, and then it's kind of got this point of view type of feel. Like there's a lot of drones that are designed for racing and that kind of thing, and this kind of incorporates some of those features. So you do wear goggles with it, and you have that handheld device to control it. But the reason I'm interested in it, or kind of intrigues me, is that being a drone pilot is difficult, to get the subject in the center of the camera, to fly around something, to get it, to be telling a story. And this, because of the 8K and the 360, you can edit afterwards. So if you didn't perfectly frame it when you were flying, because you're not the greatest drone pilot because you're not great with joysticks, this is, first of all, is a kind of this interesting controlling mechanism, and it's also you're able to edit the stuff afterwards. It also has some AI features where it'll edit for you, and I'm not sure, but I think it probably helps with the distortion and that kind of thing. But you can do wave paths and all that. But I just thought it was interesting that DJI's leaving, and there are still looks like there'll be some good alternatives still out there for it. Anyway,
I own that Insta360 camera,
right,
and one of the things that makes it really nice, especially for my motorcycling, is that you don't have to worry about the horizon. Since it's 360, it doesn't matter if the camera's at an angle or if it's, hanging sideways out the door. It doesn't matter. You just correct the horizon in the software. And believe that um, the new 360, I think mine does it too, but it actually corrects it. If you lean the unit, it actually corrects it right in the screen. Then when you get it back, depending on how you shot it, two screen for real 360 or one screen for ultra wide, you can do whatever you need to fix it in there. But it's pretty cool technology. I think the thing that I'll tease our next week. I think the thing that is interesting me about the Insta360 company is that they make cameras that don't do what every other camera I've bought for 60 years does. It's still a camera,
correct, yeah.
but it's something else. Have you seen the ones with a little bitty thing about this big?
No,
Yeah, it's got a housing unit and then it's got the lens, which comes off, which is about 1/4 the size of this. You can put it anywhere. You can
wow,
attach it to a dog. You can put it on a drone. You can, I mean, you can do anything with it. Um, it's pretty incredible
Yeah,
what can be done with these
and
things.
this ties back to what you were talking earlier about AI. I think people they get freaked out about new technology, and I get it. There are real concerns with it, so I'm not trying to downplay that. But what
Sure.
I would say is that part of these tools are it's they're only limited by your own creativity. I mean, think of the
Hmm.
storytellers, and you do start to see it a little bit more in even production type, TV series and those kind of things, where think about it, if you could tell a story from the viewpoint of your dog, or if
Yeah.
you could have the dog be a character in a little Instagram story or whatever, you know, and I'm not even that good at it. There are some really ingenious people who you're like, I never thought, but the tool's right there. It's a cheap tool that not cheap, but relatively cheap tool that's like, yeah, I could put that camera there. I could put this camera over here. I could. It's yeah, I get it that you feel like um, you're being overwhelmed by it. But if maybe what you should do is flip it around and say, okay, I challenge myself to use some of these new tools to create something that is new for me and be inspired. And you never know where that could lead. So maybe I'm just a tech cheerleader, but I do I do like this stuff. I enjoy it. That's why we're doing this
You know,
podcast. It's fun, and I understand why people get really upset about it. Um, I don't know. I just think that it's human creativity. It's only enhancing human creativity, and I think if you can focus on that, you might get way more benefit out of it and may not be as worried about it. But
totally agree. My whole life in photography, over 50 years, over 50 years, several years, over 50 years in this business. Um, I have seen photographers push back about every technological thing that came. Used to get Pop Photo magazine way back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And it'd be here's they put meters in the cameras back in the mid 60s, I think, late 60s. They stuck a meter on an Nikon F. And that was it. That was the end of photography. That was it. It was, and now
auto
everybody
exposure
can,
is going to kill everybody.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah, then it was auto exposure.
yeah,
Then it was motor drives,
yeah.
motor drives. And that was
Autofocus,
cheating. Motor drives were cheating. And then it was
autofocus.
the automatic exposure. And then it was autofocus. And
Yeah,
then it was digital. And then it was
yeah.
on and on. It was Photoshop and on and on. And yet we're still here,
Thriving,
thriving.
thriving. Well,
There's never been a better time to be a photographer than right now. I mean, with the tools we have, what is it? There's an under $6,000 100 megapixel Fuji camera.
it's amazing.
It's we have this
I
and what will it be in 2 years? Maybe a $2,500 could be a $2,000 100 megapixel camera. You know,
I guess
who knows
it
what
depends
we're
on
going
how
to
you
have.
define yourself. If you define yourself as a photographer, as a technician that owns a specific piece of technology locked in a certain time frame, that photographer might struggle. But if you define yourself as a photographer who really is more of a storyteller and a creative person solving solutions for their client, then that person goes on and on forever because
Yep.
that's you know, that's what they're paying you for. They're paying you to bring your genius to them to help them with their problem they have, whether it's selling a product, it's capturing their wedding or an emotional event in their life, or it's, nonprofit, whatever it is, that's what you're getting paid for. And you got to kind of maybe let go of and I get it too. I get nostalgia for the 5D Mark II and those cameras
Cool.
and how much fun I had with them and how well I learned that camera. But you got to move on. Or you can still do that as the side, and maybe that's something you can introduce into your portfolio. Uh, but you can't limit yourself by the technology that was there or you fell in love with. I don't know.
We've been seduced by our process. And I'm constantly telling the photographers I work with and mentor, don't be in love with your process. You have to love your tool as far as a tool. Like I really love working with my Canons, or I get that, no problem. But your job isn't to play with your camera. Your job is to present something visual that will help Bob sell more muffins. That's what you need to do. And if that happens to be a an image that's hybrid AI and hybrid photography, then you should embrace that because your job is to help your client, not to stay true to your tool. That's an artist, and an artist. I have no problem with artists. Say I'm an artist. I only shoot black and white 4x5 film. Okay, great. But you're not a commercial photographer. And I'm so often talking to commercial photographers. Commercial photography, use whatever it is that you need to use to get whatever it is you need to get in the story.
Yeah. Well said. Okay. Well, the only other thing, I don't know, we probably ran out of stories. I was going to bring up the word of the year. I didn't get a chance to build a graphic, but it's AI, it's slop, I think is the word of the year.
Slop,
So
yeah.
kind of ties back at the end of this is that
Okay.
you can overuse this AI stuff to a point where it does
Okay.
feel kind of
My granddaughter and I, we have a a devastating little off thing that we do. We like to watch those videos where people fall,
okay.
like trying to climb a ladder. And we sit and howl at this, right? So last night, we're all cuddled up looking at these people fall. And I start looking and there's AI.
Yeah.
It's half of the reel last night. Half of the 30-minute reel was AI.
Yeah.
It was fake people falling.
But you
And
couldn't.
guess who noticed it first?
She did. Your daughter. Or
The
your
10-year-old.
Yeah.
She goes,
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
look real,
Yeah.
Papa. I'm like, you know what? It really doesn't look real because you're watching something unfold from a camera without asking yourself, who's holding the camera?
Right. Right. It's funny
How
because
did
I
the
mean it
person
does trick.
hold the camera to do
I
that?
think I think you and I are so used to everything. I mean, our base assumption is that it's real because that's what we grew up
Hmm.
with. Everything was like, well,
Hmm.
other than maybe the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot, for the most part, or maybe some alien photos, for the most part, we just assumed that like most of this was real, and that's not the reality that kids are growing up with today. They have to discern immediately, is this real or is this generated? Is this something that's there to trick me? So
She's not real sure how she feels about it. I mean, she still laughed at it and everything. That was it for me. I'm like, I don't want to watch it anymore. I mean,
you were mad.
what is the point? If
Yeah.
somebody doesn't actually slip and break a clavicle, what is the point?
It's the concept. It's
It's
like
the
reading. It's like reading a story about a guy falling off a thing. You made it up.
it's the
Yeah.
end game of it.
Funny.
So
That's slop. That's the word of the year. AI slop.
that's
So that'll
slop.
get you. That'll get you. I did want to circle back really quick, re-mention this. You got the Substack. You're up to 5 days on this, right? Is it a full? It's just a five
Yeah,
day.
it's 5 days. It's complete now. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's gotten some really good reviews on it. So
Yeah. Check it
and
out.
it's free. My Substack is
Oh, it is free.
I
I
would
thought.
say 90% of it is free.
Okay.
I have a premium thing and I do give out great things to the premium members, but the reset, that's all free. You don't if you join my Substack, you're going to get 90% of what I do is free.
Yeah.
So it's not another money making thing where I want you to join my email list, whatever.
No, I mean, but I mean,
So
it's fair enough. I mean, you pump out a lot of content, really thoughtful stuff, and I think that's the freemium model, right? You read it for a while, and I do that with Substacks. I know you do too.
yeah,
You read somebody for a while on their free stuff, and you're like, you know what? I want to support them, and so just life is life, and a few bucks a month could really make a difference for someone. And then B, it's, you get that extra, you get those extra premium articles, um, stuff that really can help improve your life and improve your mindset. That's my biggest challenge is getting,
I've been doing this for a long time. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been mentoring for a long time. And I do it so that I can pass on something that I've done in my life that I know a lot. I've been an art director. I've been a creative director and an ad agency owner. My agency was the third largest in Phoenix in the year 2000. That sounds like a long time ago, and it is. But yeah, we were the number one ad agency here. So I know a lot about what I do and what I'm talking about. And I just try to help people out with information that they can use.
yeah.
Um, I haven't shown anybody how to make coffee yet. And I don't rag on camera manufacturers. So if you're looking for that, you have plenty of other places to
I know,
go
but
for
this
that.
is going back to the technology thing. It's that's the brilliance of today is that there are no gatekeepers. You're out there. You're gonna get out there more with your social media and your YouTube, and it's most of what you put out, and probably 98% of what you put out is free. You just have a few things there to help support yourself. So
Yeah,
I
if
think that
someone
it's
wants to help support me, that's
yeah,
great. But if they don't, they're still going to get
a
a
ton of
lot of
value,
value.
and it's great that we have the technology that we can get this experience. Because I mean, I was thinking about this the other day when I started in banking in '89 or whatever. There was no YouTube channels on how to be a credit analyst or how to do a financial
Oh, I
survey.
know. Yeah.
If you're coming out now, you got you got to just it's the university of where you can learn things. And if you're someone who wants to get into the creative space, uh, you're think about that to be able to get your insight, your experience as a young person, or even just someone who's starting out even in later in their career. Um, it's just amazing to me. That's why I don't know. All right, we're gonna call it a show, I guess, and we'll see
Hey,
everybody next week.
fantastic. Good.
Yeah.
That's been great.
All right. See you later, Don.
All right, man. Take care.